Hello.
Hey,
how are you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you doing?
Pretty good. What is your name and age?
So I'm Shiv. I'm from London, and I'm 20.
How long did you live in London?
So I've been living in London for around about 20 years. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
In my life.
And has this been your first time outside the United States going to college for more than a month, going to college in America?
Yeah, so this was the first time I've sort of been for a prolonged period of time. I've been on holidays for about maybe a week or so outside of the UK, but apart from sort of, this was the first time I've ever had to study or be here for a prolonged period of time, yes.
Perfect. So, while in England, how would you greet a friend?
So it wouldn't be too different from, or too dissimilar what I'd be doing now. Normally it'd be a handshake, or if they're close friends, sort of a bro hug. But what I would say is that the way I sort of greet them is slightly different in what I say. I seem to say the word bro, or like, no, actually not bro, buddy. Buddy a lot more in the US. Whereas in the UK, I use mate a lot more.
Okay.
That seems, and sort of especially when I go away from the person I say, when I want to thank the person, I say cheers, which I don't really say over here as well.
So the handshake would be about the same as well?
The handshake would be the same as well.
Do you want to demonstrate with me?
So yeah.
Just this?
Yeah, just this.
Okay.
So actually, I would say that in America, I'd be doing more like that.
Okay.
And then, whereas in the UK, it would be much more.
The typical bro hug.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And so you would mainly use buddy if you're in the US, or
Yeah.
have you ever used mate while in the US?
Occasionally, but it's not that common. I found I sort of drift into saying buddy a lot in the US.
I don't know how many students you know who are international from the UK, but if you do know any of them, do you use mate if you're addressing them, or still buddy?
With those students, I don't know them particularly well.
Okay.
So I find that it's more a they're not close enough for me to call them mate or buddy. It's normally I use that for sort of closer friends. But I would gather, so I would use it if I was sort of much closer with them.
So that's a friend. What would you do if it was a person you were meeting for the first time? Around your age. Around
my age. I think I'd sort of stick to the same thing with a handshake with both. Actually, no. I would probably go for a handshake for both of them.
Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't change for either culture.
Okay. And we're assuming friends right now, so your typical age group. But what about siblings? Do you have any siblings?
Yes. So I have one brother.
Do you use a bro hug with him?
Oh yeah. No. So it's just like a normal just a hug. It's not, when I say bro hug, it's normally sort of like you go with one arm and then you sort of pat them on the back. With my brother, it's just like a normal hug, just
okay.
No bro attached to it.
Do you use mate when addressing him, or?
No, I use his first name.
Okay,
yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, of course.
What about in elders? So a parent or a grandparent, aunt or uncle?
So then I would also use just a normal hug, not a bro hug at that point. That would be a bit weird, sort of doing a bro hug with my dad. What I would say is I don't call my dad mate at all. Actually, though, sometimes he does call me mate.
Really?
Yeah, it's strange. It's when he sort of becomes, I don't know, when we've been talking for a bit of time, instead of saying Shiv, he'll say mate, and then realise he has to correct himself and say Shiv. But yeah, we'll normally use first name terms with my parents.
Perfect. And if you were in England, for example, and you had a job interview, or you were meeting a potential client, someone in the business realm,
right.
How would you address them? Still a typical handshake?
Typical, yeah, definitely.
I would assume you would use their last name, or when addressing them, or?
Yeah, so it'll be last name while addressing them, and then as you get to know them, first name.
Okay.
Professionally, I probably wouldn't call them by mate unless they became like a personal friend of mine. You just would normally stick with the sort of either surname, Mr. surname, or their first name.
So pretend I am interviewing you for a job right now, and you just walked into a room for the first time.
Right.
And what would you say to me when greeting me?
I would say, good morning, Mr. And then if I wanted to vary it, I might say sir.
Okay.
Just sort of as respect. I definitely wouldn't go into your first name unless you told me to address you. So if you told me to call you Mike, then I would say, okay, fine, I won't call you Mr. Fitton anymore, I'll call you Mike, but only if you actually say.
Would the process differ if you were meeting a potential employer in the United States, or still similar?
So I don't think it would differ that much, but I'm not sure about that answer, simply because I haven't had the chance to work in either place. So I don't know if the potential employer would prefer me to call me by their first name or last name. When I have met people who are much elder to me in the in the professional realm, I do find that they're much more willing to have them being called their first name in the US. So.
Perfect. And I want to just go back to what you were saying before with addressing friends, and if you're in the UK, you would use mate for a person you know well. Is that something that you learned over time? Like, how do you describe how that reading came about? I know it's a difficult question.
Okay. I think it's just sort of seeing enough other people doing it. You end up sort of tending towards saying mate instead of something else. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why. I think you sort of see other people do it, you see it on TV, and it just sort of amalgamates, and that you just keep on using it throughout, and that's probably one of the reasons why then I started using buddy in America.
So you saw people in America as well were addressing their friends as bud or buddy,
yeah.
And then you picked up on that and decided to go about it.
Yeah, so I don't think I did that sort of as consciously, I did it more subconsciously, but I realised that I say mate in England and buddy but in the US, and when I thought about it, I started because other people sort of were using it a lot.
And for your elders, was that something they told you if they were going back to like how you would address an elder? Was that something they taught you how to do, or was this kind of like another process where a hug and then you might say their name? Yeah,
so I think that was much more natural.
Okay.
Again, most of these things would have been just natural. I've just sort of realised them over time that I do one thing in a certain way.
Okay. There was no sort of etiquette class while you were in the equivalent of primary school or secondary school?
No, I think that you would. Yeah, that's difficult to say. I think that you're sort of brought up with certain standards, so that could be like an etiquette class. But in sort of formal education, you're not really told this is the way you handshake. You sort of learn it as you go along, and I'm not too sure I can say that that isn't something I would have not have in the US. But definitely I learned it as I went along.
And just one more question for you. If so far we focused on if you have time for a handshake kind of, or a hug or a bro hug, what if you're just passing by someone in public? You're both walking down the hallway in a Dartmouth, in a Dartmouth building. Would you wave or not wave? What would you say to that? Would you still call them buddy?
Yeah, so I would definitely say hey buddy or hey man. But especially in the US, if I was going through with someone in the UK, however, so who was a Dartmouth, I'd be like hey mate. Okay. That's definitely something. So the greeting itself wouldn't. Actually, no. I might say hi. I would say that I'd probably say hi a lot more in the UK as well.
So a shorter greeting, or
yeah. So it'd be like hi, whereas and hey, it's in the US. I would actually think I say that more.
Really? Okay.
In the US, yeah.
Is there a particular reason for that, or is this kind of time?
No, I just think it's just different. I was just thinking about it right now, and sort of I do say hey a lot more in the US than I do, and I say hi in the UK.
Well, okay, thank you for that. And do you use any hand gestures, or do you ever wave or not wave?
Actually, no. I seem to use the peace sign and this sign, like the rock sign, a lot more in the US. I don't know why. Actually, I think I use a peace sign in the UK as well, but I don't use the rock sign as much. I don't know why I do that. Maybe, I don't think that's a US thing, like nobody actually does that. But it's something I definitely do in the US a bit more.
Do you know any reason why that came about? Did you see any pop culture icons doing that?
I don't know, I just felt, I just started doing it because I felt relaxed, just like, saying bye to people like that. Maybe because people over here are much more chill. That might be a reason why, but I'm not really too sure why I started doing that.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too.